You've seen the Sphinx 1,000 times in pictures. Majestic, silent, eternal. But what if I told you it's not as silent as it seems? That beneath those weathered paws and stone stare lies something that has been hidden for thousands of years, something that may hold the key to humanity's forgotten past. In 1987, a team using advanced seismic equipment detected strange cavities beneath the Sphinx. Later, ground-penetrating radar revealed density anomalies, large, symmetrical voids, right under its paws and stretching toward its body. The results were never widely publicized. Some reports quietly disappeared. Others were dismissed. But ancient legends, they never dismissed it. They called it the Hall of Records, the place where Thoth, the god of wisdom, inscribed the truth of the world before time as we know it began. A library not of books, but of consciousness. A record etched into light, stone, and vibration. Mainstream Egyptology says there's no hidden library, just cracks and maintenance shafts. But what if those cracks are doorways? What if those maintenance shafts were once sacred corridors? Tonight, we're not here to prove or disprove. We're here to journey, to connect the clues of modern science with the whispers of ancient myth, to ask the questions we were never meant to ask. Because if Thoth's hidden chambers truly exist, they don't just hold history, they hold your story. Let's start with the part no one can dismiss: science. In 1987, geophysicist Thomas Dobecki and John Anthony West conducted seismic surveys around the Sphinx. What they found was not random. The readings clearly showed rectangular cavities beneath its massive paws and extending along its body. Perfectly symmetrical shapes that nature simply does not create on her own. Then, in 1993, a team using ground-penetrating radar detected even more anomalies. Areas of drastically different density in the bedrock, some stretching more than 25 feet beneath the surface. Think about that. Deep, hollow spaces, where according to official records, there should be nothing. But here's where it gets strange. These findings were never fully excavated. The Egyptian government halted further digs in the area, and access to independent researchers was suddenly restricted. Official statements labeled the anomalies as natural fractures. But are we really supposed to believe that symmetrical, rectangular voids under the Sphinx are just random cracks? Now pause for a second and ask yourself this. If the truth would confirm only what we already know, why hide it? Why bury the evidence deeper than the sand itself? And here's where myth and science intersect like two beams of light. Thousands of years ago, Egyptian priests spoke of a hall of records, said to be hidden beneath the Sphinx, placed there by Thoth himself before the great floods, to preserve the wisdom of Atlantis for a future age. If these chambers exist, they aren't just archaeological sites. They are time capsules, designed to awaken only when humanity is ready to remember who it truly is. So, here's the question I'll leave you with before we move forward. If these hidden chambers were opened tomorrow, would the world be ready for what's inside? The emerald tablets speak in riddles, but if you listen closely, they tell you exactly why the Hall of Records was hidden and why Thoth was the one to seal it. Thoth wasn't just a scribe or god of wisdom. He was an architect of reality, a master of energy, and the last high priest of Atlantis before it vanished from this plane. The tablets claim that as Atlantis was collapsing, not destroyed but shifting into another realm, Thoth gathered the most important knowledge humanity had ever known. Knowledge of the soul's journey, the mechanics of creation, and the laws that govern all planes of existence. But here's the part most historians skip. Thoth didn't just hide this knowledge in books or scrolls. He encoded it into light, sound, and geometry, and then sealed it in a chamber of stone beneath the Sphinx, placing vibrational locks that only a consciousness of a certain frequency could open. Why Egypt? Because after Atlantis faded, Thoth brought his people, the children of the light, to the Nile Valley. There, they built the pyramids and the Sphinx as markers for the location of the records. Not just monuments, but multi-dimensional keys. Ancient Egyptian initiates knew this. They underwent lifetimes of training, refining their spirit to the point where they could enter the hall without corrupting the knowledge inside. Because here's the truth. The wisdom in that chamber isn't just information. It's power. The kind of power that can rebuild worlds or destroy them. That's why Thoth left it for you. Not the you sitting in your chair scrolling through a feed, but the eternal part of you, the part that's been here for lifetimes, preparing for this exact moment in history. So here's my question to you. If the Hall of Records were opened today, would you have the discipline, the purity of mind, and the strength of heart to walk through its gates? Because in the next chapter, we're going to look at exactly what might be inside, and why it could rewrite everything we think we know about human history. Imagine walking into a room untouched for over 12,000 years. The air feels alive, thicker somehow, as if it remembers every word ever spoken in its presence. The walls hum with a resonance your body feels before your ears can register it. This is the Hall of Records. The legends say it holds the sum of all human knowledge, but that's only scratching the surface. What's inside is not just history, it's prehistory. Scrolls of crystalline material etched with symbols that shift and change as you look at them. Holographic projections of the Earth in its many ages. Continents rising and falling, civilizations blooming and vanishing. And at the center, an object described in the emerald tablets as the key of life. A device, not of stone or gold, but of pure, stabilized light. A piece of Atlantean technology that, when activated, aligns the human energy field with the cosmic field. Unlocking memory. Memory of who you truly are and where you came from before this lifetime. But here's the most shocking part. According to some interpretations, the chamber also contains a record of our future. Not as a fixed timeline, but as branching possibilities, showing exactly what will happen depending on whether humanity chooses wisdom or self-destruction. And this is why Thoth hid it. Because the hall doesn't just reveal knowledge, it responds to the state of the one who enters. If a seeker walks in with purity of heart, they are shown the path to ascension. If they walk in with greed or hunger for power, they are shown their own ruin. Now think about that for a second. What if these chambers could be opened in our lifetime? Would humanity be ready? Would you be ready? Because in the next chapter, we're going to explore the signs that the Hall of Records is close to being revealed, and what that means for you, me, and the future of our world. For centuries, the Sphinx has watched in silence, its gaze fixed on the horizon, as if waiting for something only it knows is coming. But in recent decades, subtle changes, both in the land and in human consciousness, suggest the waiting is almost over. First, there's the shifting of the sands themselves. Researchers have noted unusual subsidence patterns around the Sphinx enclosure, as if the ground beneath is preparing to give way, or open. Ground-penetrating radar scans in the 1990s revealed rectangular anomalies exactly where ancient texts said the hall would be. Those findings were quietly buried, but the data still exists. Then there are the sky signs. In the last few years, certain astronomical alignments have returned for the first time since the age of Leo. Alignments the emerald tablets associate with the time of awakening, when the secrets buried in the earth will again rise to the surface. But perhaps the most telling sign isn't in the stone. It's in us. Have you noticed it? People all over the world are dreaming of Egypt, of walking beneath the Sphinx, of opening doors that have been sealed for lifetimes. They wake up feeling both unsettled and deeply called, like they're rehearsing for something they're meant to take part in. Hermetic tradition teaches that collective memory can be triggered like a seed suddenly sprouting. And when enough of us remember, the threshold to the hall will appear, not in myth, but in reality. So here's the question. If the hall opens in your lifetime, will you be ready to enter? Because in our final chapter, we're going to uncover exactly what you must do to be worthy of stepping inside. The Hall of Records is not just a chamber of stone, it's a mirror. When you step into it, if you ever do, it will not simply show you scrolls and artifacts. It will show you yourself, stripped of every mask, every falsehood, every fear, Thoth wrote in the emerald tablets, "Only those pure in heart may pass the guardians of the halls." That isn't poetry, it's protocol. The guardians are not soldiers or statues. They are living currents of consciousness that scan the deepest recesses of your soul. If you carry greed, deceit, or the hunger for power, you will not make it past the threshold. The hall itself will reject you. So how do you become worthy? It begins now, not on the day you arrive at the Sphinx. It begins with inner alchemy. The same Hermetic laws that govern the universe also govern you. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. When you live in harmony with them, your very frequency changes. You stop being a seeker of secrets and become a keeper of them. Thoth's initiates practiced this daily, silencing the mind until the inner voice became as clear as the desert night sky, purifying the heart through acts of truth, compassion, and service, aligning the body so that it could carry the higher charge of awakened consciousness. Every thought, every choice is part of your preparation. The hall will not open for the curious, it will open for the ready. And when the sands finally shift, when the entrance yawns open under the gaze of the Sphinx, and the air of 10,000 years rushes out into the sunlight, those who stand ready will step into a truth the rest of the world is not yet prepared to see. So the question is no longer, will the hall open? The question is, will you be ready when it does?